friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Rachel, a second generation homeschooling mama to 5 kids ages 7 and under, and here on my channel I share encouragement, ideas, resources to help other mamas who have been given this incredible task to teach our children diligently, to instill in them a love of learning, and to ultimately help them reclaim a sense of wonder in this amazing creation that God has made. If that's the kind of content you're interested in, then please consider sticking around, hitting that like and subscribe button, and telling me a little bit about yourself in the comments. I'm real excited today. I'm excited every day that I share my stuff with you because I truly love homeschooling. And there's so many amazing resources and curriculums out there and books that honestly my problem is not finding good stuff to use, it's trying to narrow it down so that I'm not overwhelming myself and my children by using all the amazing things out there. But today I'm going to share the different stuff we have in our summer morning basket. I almost hesitate to call it a morning basket for the summer because we don't use it exactly the same way as we do in the school year. But it's kind of a mix between summer basket, learning basket, just kind of where I put all my educational resources that I want to continue doing over the summer so that we don't just take a complete break from learning and forget everything we learned. And not only that, but almost the bigger part of it for me is that both my children as well as myself really strive on structure. So if we were to just take the summer break and not do anything, not have any structure to our days, it would be bad news for everyone involved. So I have a pretty hefty basket here full of all kinds of good stuff. And before I get into it, let me say that no, we do not do anywhere near all of this every day. About half of it are things that we're using right now, and then some of it is things that once we finish this book, we'll move on to this and that kind of thing. But yeah, I've got a combination of books as well as some hands-on things and even a game or maybe 2 in here. And most of the stuff we do use in the morning, right before breakfast with some of it, during breakfast, right after, and then other things I might just pull out at different parts of the day when I want to do a little read aloud, play a game, just do something. So I'm going to start with the books that I have. A couple of them I think are books that I've shared in some of my curriculum choices videos. Like this first one specifically is Number Stories, book 2 that I'm using with my preschooler this year. And I had pulled it out when I was doing my preschool curriculum picks video, and I just kind of got really excited for it. And so I thought, maybe I'll start it now. So I think we've read like the first, I don't know, 30 pages maybe. And this one, like I said in that video, is so cool, but it's really old, and so I think it's pretty hard to find for not a crazy price. I think on Thrift Books last I looked up it was like $40 or maybe more. My oldest 3 boys are doing their quiet time in their room with my youngest, my baby, who's almost 6 months, while my just turned 2-year-old is napping in her room. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I lucked out and I found it at a thrift store a while ago. But I just love that it's really old, and so it's got the typical, you know, old style illustrations, and it's got all kinds of different stories in it. And then after the different stories, it has different questions, like this one, the beginning is high and low, and it asks you, you know, Betty's at the top of the slide and Bobby's at the bottom. Where's Jack? Is Jack as low as Bobby? Is Bobby lower than Betty? And it's just got different questions like that for my preschooler. Next is a devotion we're doing right now, and it's by Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life, 100 Illustrated Devotions for Children. I'm not actually sure where I picked this one up at. I think it might have been on a really good discount at Christian Book. And we're actually mostly through this one. I think we're like 3/4 of the way done because we started it earlier in the summer. And honestly, I don't love it. I probably wouldn't totally recommend it because there's just, I think, a lot of better ones. I like the Louis Giglio ones better. I think one of them's called Indescribable Devotions of Science and something. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about because they're very, very popular. But I like those ones better than this. But it's nice for the summer because they're really short. It's got kind of what the topic is, a verse, and then a really short little blurb about it, and then it's got a prayer. After we finish that, we are going to read the Time Travel Guide to the Land of Jesus. This also might have been one that I got off of Christian Books, or I just found it on sale Not totally sure. But I'm really looking forward to doing this one because when we start our new school year, we're going to be using Faithopedia's, or Not Consumed Faithopedia, starting with the Old Testament. And I'm real excited for that. I think it's going to be really good. I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. I think my oldest is going to enjoy it a lot. Not really sure how much my younger ones, I just don't know yet. I've looked through it a bit. I'm not sure how much it's going to be over the heads of my littler ones, or if they'll be able to still glean a fair bit from it and still learn a fair bit. But I do think doing this first will kind of help prepare them for that, to have a little more context, because up to this point for Bible stuff, basically at all times I like to be doing something, whether it's the school year, whether it's summer break, whatever it is, some kind of devotional, Bible storybook, something in the realm of Bible apologetics devotional. And so far we haven't done a whole lot of deeper stuff because my kids are pretty young. We've gone through a couple different Bible storybooks, gone through a couple devotionals, but in terms of really getting into the history of Jesus' time and all that, we haven't done a ton. So this will be good to kind of prepare them for the Faithopedia from Not Consumed. But it's got fun illustrations, it's got all kinds of different maps. It looks really fun. It basically just kind of covers, well, the land of Jesus. And it says tourist tips, must see, best buys, and so it just looks like it's really fun. So we'll see how we like this, but I think we'll like it a lot, and I think it's just going to be really, I don't expect it's going to necessarily be covering a lot of new things, because we have learned about all the typical, the birth of Jesus, his life, the miracles, the death and resurrection, all that kind of stuff. But I think we're going to learn a lot from it, and I think it'll be a good one for all of us. Next, I have stuff that we're doing for history. Basically, my plan for history over the summer is, for one, we're doing stuff to kind of study the story of the 4th of July, the Constitution, flag, and all that. And then also, after the 4th of July, we are going to be doing some more books on the government, how elections work, and everything in that realm, to kind of just use this election year as an opportunity to teach the kids about how it all works. So the next one we're going to read is called The Story of Our Flag, an old one that I'm sure I picked up at a thrift store somewhere. Yeah, I'm not sure how old. I don't even see the date. Oh, the date's in Roman numerals. I think it's 1960, but anyways, it's got fun old pictures, just the story of our flag. So I'm imagining Betsy Ross and all that. And this one, these kinds of picture books, I'm sure I will just read in one sitting. So we'll read that probably sometime this week. And then after that, we're gonna read the 4th of July story. I really like this one. I know we've had it for a couple years now, and so I think this will be our 3rd time reading it, by Alice, I wanna say Dalgliesh. I'm not sure, but I wanna say that she is the author of The Bear on Hemlock Mountain and The Courage of Sarah Noble. And my upcoming 3rd grader read those two last year during his 2nd grade year and really liked them. And then I read one of them aloud to the kids, and I want to read the other one too, because those are fun. But this one is also a really good one. It just goes over, like it says, the story of the 4th of July. And so it's got a good bit of text, but also good pictures and illustrations. It's kind of not exactly chapters, but broken down into sections. So this will be one that will probably take a few days to read. But it just goes over the 4th of July story in language that's easier to grasp for young ones. It's a nice introduction without being just too much information for little ones, but I mean, I feel like I read it every year and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So do this next, and then after that we've got We the People, the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, this one is just simply the preamble to the Constitution, with pictures to go along with it, and so that's will be another one that we'll just obviously read through in one sitting. But then at the back it has some extra. And it's got, let's see, the signers of the Constitution, and a little bit of information about each one, where they were from. And then beyond that, it has the story of our Constitution, a call to action, debate in Philadelphia. And so it's got so let me backtrack. We'll read the preamble in one day, and then we'll take a few more days to read over this stuff. And this kind of stuff I'll probably just read with my oldest, because it'll probably be a little bit above the heads of my other children. And then after that one, by the time we get to these last two about government stuff, it'll probably be early August, I'm guessing. And we'll do how the US government works. And I actually read a different book by Syl Sobel, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was about the government as well. And I liked it a lot. It was really good. It seemed like the format of it was just easy to grasp for the first grade and up age range. It's got a lot of text, but also some illustrations. I thought it was done really well, so I'm hopeful that this one will be really good too. And as government stuff can be a little tricky to learn and remember, I'm doing several different books over the summer about government and elections and how it all works. And I'm not expecting any of my kids, I'm not going to quiz them or test them or anything like that. We'll read it and discuss it, and just, this is basically the first time that I've really intentionally done much books and reading about the government and elections. I mean, we've done a little bit and they've learned a little bit about presidents, but this is definitely the biggest introduction on it all that I've done, and so I'm looking forward to continue with these. After that, the last book in here about government I have is What's the Big Deal About Elections? And I think there's a few different books in this series, but I haven't read any of these ones before. And this one looks really fun. It's got nice, fun, colored illustrations. Who gets to vote. It's got all kinds of different, why does government matter? And basically it has different questions, and then it goes on to explain, here's who do we elect to lead the government. So this will be the one after that. And then by the time we finish this, fun picture. By the time we finish this one, it'll probably be getting very close to starting our school year. And I actually do have a couple more books, I think just like 2 more beyond this, about elections, government, presidents, that kind of stuff to continue doing as we lead into the election in November. The next one I have, this is another history something. It's Major Events in World History. This is one I don't actually love that much, so I don't really recommend it. It's not so bad that we're not finishing it. And I actually asked my oldest son just, I think yesterday, I said, are you liking this? Do you feel like you're learning anything from it? Do you want to finish it? And he did, and he said, yeah. I think my 5-year-old said no. So I'm kind of at this point just doing these with my oldest, and not really asking the other ones to listen if they don't want to. But it's just got 50 different events in world history. It's been fine. We've learned some stuff. I've learned some things. My oldest son especially has learned some, but it's not going to be one that I keep to do again in upcoming years. So that's that. Now here is probably my favorite resource I've started using recently, and it's Everyday Graces. I had this on a wish list of mine for years, and I kind of knew that I should wait, wait till my kids are a little older. I mean, I was seeing things when my oldest was 3-4 years old, and I'm all excited about it, but I knew that, okay, we're not ready for it yet. So finally, I feel like enough of my kids are ready for it, and it's so good. I love it so much. It's basically a compilation of all kinds of stories. Please go to your room. Okay. Compilation of all kinds of stories. It's got poems, it's got chapters of different books. A Child's Book of Good Manners. It's broken up into sections, or chapters I should say, where table manners, and it's got all kinds of stories about that. It's got washing and dressing, appreciating people with disabilities, out and about, good manners in school, all kinds of different stuff. And it's not very illustrated. There's some illustrations, but that hasn't been a problem. My kids they've enjoyed it regardless. And it's got some chapters from some well-known classics. Pinocchio, and there's a few from Anne of Green Gables, there's some from Pollyanna, I think even Chronicles of Narnia. So I like that it's a really cool way to kind of introduce some of those classics to your kids without necessarily reading the whole book, because some of them are really long books. And then most of the little excerpts have from the author a little paragraph or two afterwards kind of explaining it, or the moral of the story and that kind of thing. And it's got, fairly often, it's got a little blurb on the side where it's either got a Bible verse or maybe a quote from someone to kind of tie in with what that story is about. So this has been my favorite. I don't really think we'll finish it during the summer, so it'll probably carry through to the school year. But it's almost one of those ones that I love it so much, I kind of don't want to go through it fast. You know when there's something a book you're reading you love so much, whether it's a book or a curriculum, and sometimes you love it so much you just want to keep reading until you finish it because it's so good, and other times you love it so much that you want to savor it and you don't want it to be over. That's kind of how this is. It's so good, I want to make the goodness last. And so yeah, we'll probably be reading this over a few months, I'm guessing, but really, really good. Next, I have the Big Book of Presidents. This is one that I'm mostly doing with my oldest as well, and all of these books in here, I should say that most days I might do maybe 5 different books tops, and it probably won't be all 5 at one time. Maybe in the morning we'll do 2 or 3, and then maybe in the afternoon at some point we'll pull out another 1 or 2 and read from it. But this one, let's do a couple times a week. It's got information about presidents, so it's got the president, some stuff about him, some different facts, a timeline of US events and world events, which is neat. And then most of the presidents are just 2 pages. Some of the more famous ones have 4 pages on them, and then every now and then it's got a couple other things, like here it says presidents of a nation in conflict. I think one of them had like presidential families, but it's really good introductions on the presidents and just some other facts about presidencies and the government, White House, all of that. Now the last book I have is this math book, just a fun one I threw in here to every now and then kind of work on some of these things. And I like that this one has a wide range of, it's not a very long one, but it's got some simple math, but a wide range of levels of math, I guess. And so it's got some things I could do and ask my almost 4-year-old the answer to, and something I could ask my 6-year-old, and then the other ones would be things for my oldest. And so it's got fractions, it's got shapes, it's got measuring, and so I just love the Osborne Lift Flat books. All I have for the books, now I've got a few other things, some games and activities and manipulatives. So one of them to go with our presidents and elections and all that kind of learning is Mad Lib's Presidents. And I mean, this is just kind of for fun. This isn't something that I think we're gonna learn anything, or at least not very much about presidents about, but it's more a fun way to practice grammar relating to presidents, because we're trying to learn about that right now. And I mean, there's a few that have something kind of, like this one's called the veto, and so I'm sure it'll be silly and it'll sound not like what it is, but we'll use that to talk about the veto and what that means, and so that kind of stuff. So I'm sure we'll learn a little bit just from the different terms that come up. Next, I have a game from The Good and the Beautiful. It's a Treehouse Town Parts of Speech game. This one's cool because it actually has 2 books that are the Treehouse Town books, and the game is kind of based on that. And so it's a really simple game for parts of speech that my upcoming 3rd grader and 1st grader can both play. But it's got this little spinner, and it's got adjective, proper noun, common noun, and verb. And you spin it, and you have your cards in your hand, and I think you only have like 4 or something. And if you get, a verb, what you have to see is one of your cards a verb. Build. Then you would put that card in, and because it's yellow, you would get a yellow house until you've got a little house for each color, each part of speech. So I have, actually, also to go with presidents, I have this little flip book that my mother-in-law had sent me, and we haven't actually read through it, but we're just kind of using it to just memorize as much as we can, or as close as we can, the presidents. And so we'll just go over George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and right now we've only read about the first 5 presidents, and so every time we learn about a new one, we add that in, and I might sometimes read a little bit about them. It's also something for my oldest 2 to just flip through and look through when they want. Next I have place value chart that I know I showed in one of my other videos, but I like to do this as just a quick something in the morning with my oldest two and even my third as well. But I will just put up a number. So for my 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old, I will do a 2 or 3 digit number and have them tell me what the number is, which digit's the tens place, which is the ones, and we'll just do 2 or 3 numbers. And then the same with my oldest, but I'll do, you know, a much larger number. Maybe even do the other side that has the decimal sometimes. And then with my third oldest, who is my preschooler, we might just, you know, practice, you know, just what the numbers are, single digit numbers. All right, we're getting through it. Next I've got a little jar of coins, and this I use for my first grader and preschooler, and I just a couple times a week will pull out some of the coins and practice, you know, it's a dime, it's a quarter, how much it's worth, and then we might try practicing counting them, and so I might give him a small amount and have him practice, you know, counting with him, just a hands-on way to practice those coin facts. Then for my first grader also, I'm using this a couple times a week, and I set it to a time, and he tells me the time, I set another time, and we just kind of do a little bit of practice. And the last thing I have, a mess of the paper. It's got scribbles on and everything. I'm gonna print it up, but right now we moved recently and we have not found the cord for our printer, so we just ordered a new one because I've been dying to print so many things. But I want to get it typed up and printed. But it's basically like kind of a creed, I guess you could call it, that we're gonna be doing this year. We've already started doing, and I want to pretty much do it every day of the week, but at least 3 or 4 times. And I read it and have the kids, the oldest 2 or 3, repeat after me, and it's basically, you know, it's got stuff. I'm a servant. I look for opportunities to serve others. I am selfless. I choose to give and share with others. I'm honest. I choose to tell the truth, and so on. And so it's just got different things that I want them to be like reminding themselves of them in the morning. And it's been really cool to see. At one part I am a peacemaker. I choose to keep peace no matter what. And there's been a couple times since we started this that my oldest two, actually even my third, I've heard them talking to others and, you know, you need to be a peacemaker, like share that with them and reminding each other to be peacemakers, which has been really fun to see. But yeah, I'm gonna get it printed, typed up and printed, so it's not just I miss even got a tear in the corner. But that is what I have. It took a little longer to get through than I intended. So if you're still watching, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to keep using this stuff to kind of continue learning over the summer, and we'll see how much of this we actually finish, how much of it carries into the school year. But I like having a basket of things I can pull from when I feel like we need to do a little extra. I like to have this summer to read some of these books that is hard to squeeze in during the school year. And then just having opportunity to practice these little hand-on things a couple times a week, I feel like makes a difference. So that is what I've got. That is what we're doing to keep learning fresh during the summer. Let me know if you have a summer morning basket, what you're using to keep learning during the summer. And that's gonna be it for this video. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a like. And I'll see you next time.